By being here today, welcome our guests, candidates, and otherwise, and family members. Thank you all for being here. I have left my agenda upstairs. Anybody have an agenda I can borrow? Yeah, thank you.
I got extra.
You got extra? Okay. Perfect.
You can just use that package.
All right, thank you. We have not the longest agenda, a few things probably gonna have to talk about a little bit today, but first item on the proposed agenda under awards and presentations is proclamation for Red Ribbon Week. We do this every year. Any objection to placing that on the agenda?
No, sir.
Item number one is on the regular agenda is a request to enter into a contract with Heat Consulting Services to provide enhanced GIS mapping, support, and maintenance services for the county and authorize the chairman to negotiate and execute the contract. Revenue Commissioner Holland, I'm hoping you're going to come up here and explain what I need to sign. I glanced at the contract and I'm sure you know a lot more about it than I.
We're counting on it.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Want
Yeah, this is a contract to have KCS or Keats Consulting Services to step in and help manage our GIS system and make upgrades to our parcel viewer that's out there. They will help manage the GIS portion of our servers and assist the mapping office with support and maintenance to making sure that everything gets squared away, backed up on that side of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, currently updates to the GIS map parcel viewer, that happens once a year. Is that correct?
The parcels themselves updates daily, but the data, the current contractor that we're using kind of put us on a part-time basis, which is not acceptable. So we're having to, the data into it hasn't been updated in about a year or so.
Gotcha.
And this will help. It will integrate with our new Ingenuity software that we use in the office. So that way, when you go up to the parcel viewer, it's going to link that parcel directly to Ingenuity's website. So that way you can look at the most updated data that's out there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Any questions? Commission comments?
No, I'm glad you went into that because that was my question was what was the process that was taking place now for us, what company we were using or if we were using it in or doing it solely in-house of how that was being updated.
Yeah, it's the data's currently is stored in-house and it still will be to some degree. But it'll just link to our software system and get the data directly from them instead of us having to serve it out across our servers.
Sure.
And the contractor was a one-man operation that we were using. They got a full-time position with a government agency up in North Alabama. So we got kind of put on the back burner and we need more support than that.
Yeah.
I have a question, Chairman.
Yeah.
What would the difference the taxpayer will see when we move to this, if we move to this system?
There'll be $1,000 a month extra.
No. I'm talking about what would they be able to see difference in
Oh,
the services?
yeah, the taxpayer or the parcel owner data will be updated regularly. We haven't decided yet if we want to go daily or weekly. So that information will be updated on a sooner basis than what it has been.
I'm trying to get the pictures when you go get, a lot of people go up there and get pictures made or of land photographer. Is all that, any of that gonna be a change or will be better?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the last set of aerial photography that we had taken was in 2022. We're looking at in the 26-27 budget, going and getting new aerial photography. And then once we get that, that'll be uploaded directly into the system. So that's a 5-year cycle that we use for aerial photography. But it's gonna look very, very similar to the parcel viewer that we have now. It's just gonna look just slightly different, not much.
So it's really just, it's gonna help on the organization on your side as far as management goes.
That's right.
Any other questions, or comments? Any objection to placing this item on the agenda for Tuesday?
No objection.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a request to approve resolution to consent to a transfer of control for Knology Total Communications Incorporated. Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We recently received a packet of documents that indicate that Knology has been transferred to a new owner through a reverse merger. And one of the conditions of the franchise agreement that the commission has with the cable providers is that they need to consent to that transfer. This consent was provided to us by the entity Knology, and this will not change any of the charges, any of the fees, or any of the services that are being provided to the user. This is just consenting as per the franchise agreement that the commission has with the provider.
Clear as mud?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
As mud.
As mud. So we have different franchise agreements with different internet service providers that have infrastructure laid on our right of ways. That's why we have the franchise agreement. I think typically all these franchise agreements are sometimes a little bit different, sometimes a lot different. And we've met with press, part of our just monthly legal meeting. We're trying to get everybody to transition to kind of a standard contract. And so we're actually waiting on someone. I think it's Charter, maybe, as we're waiting to hear back from them. And but there was also a transfer of ownership, I think, between Cox and somebody else. That may have been, maybe that's where I'm getting Charter from. But in that franchise agreement, we could take no action, and after 90 days of taking no action, we automatically agreed to the transfer. So I didn't even add that to the agenda, but I think this one we have to take action. So
How does
Anyway, it's,
knowledge, total communication, what part do they play in that, and why are we transferring it to them? I guess that's my question.
so they are being sold through a reverse. I wasn't aware of that, but anyway, they're transferring ownership from Knology to Bandit Midco Incorporated.
And who was that?
Ain't got a clue. Ain't got a clue.
As mud.
It's an outfit out of the Midwest, sir.
Knowledge used to be owned by Crucebo, did own Knology.
I think Knology bought Crucebo.
Yeah, they bought them out. That was the.
Yeah,
Or
but
maybe it was Wow.
I understand that knowledge is
Yeah,
gonna be out of
then
this,
Knology bought Wow.
Yeah,
and now Bandit, whoever this is
it was
buying
buying.
up everybody.
Yeah.
So Curtis bought it.
So we're confused.
Yeah, so, and I think the agreement doesn't really allow us to change anything as far as the rates are concerned, and I believe we're charging the maximum allowable by law anyway, so there's really nothing for us to do other than, unless we just want to be a stick in the mud really for no reason, we just need to agree to this transfer.
I get it.
Any other questions or comments? Any objection to placing this item on the agenda?
No objection.
Item number 3 is a request to approve renovation plans at Houston County Farm Center for the Sanitation Collection and Billing Department. So I know we all at least had the opportunity to go out there, and Tommy, thank you, and your department, Stacy, thank you as well for getting this designed and taped off. Anyway, so they taped off that a smaller building at the Farm Center so we could kind of walk it off and get a good idea of what we're voting on. I think I don't think I'm telling a lie to say that the sanitation building, excuse me, has been a little bit more involved probably than what we had planned. We had looked into trying to acquire the volunteer fire department building that we helped fund and build several years ago. Wasn't really any interest in that. So we started looking at other options. And I think we've landed on probably a better option than the volunteer fire department building. It's more centrally located. It's in, inside, of course, the other one's inside Dothan City as well, but this is the more easily accessible location. we are gonna spend a little bit more money than we would have with the other location, but it does continue to breathe new life into the farm center. So I think it's a good thing. The money's going to come out of the sanitation department, so it's not really coming out of the general fund. So it's going to be, I think that's correct. Is that accurate? No impact of the general fund. Sanitation, as you all at least should know, is an enterprise fund, so we can't transfer money from sanitation to, say, the commission or the sheriff's department, the jail, or anything like that. So we have to spend that money in sanitation. So anyway, the floor layout is here. We also met with a probate judge that is also a polling location. He is, I'm not going to say great with it, but he can get by with the space that's going to be left, and he certainly understands kind of the predicament that we're in. So anyway, that's what's before you. Do we need to approve the budget amendment as well? We don't, that doesn't mention the budget amendment in here. That just occurred to me.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this was already included in the budget.
It was?
Yes, there was a provision in the budget for this.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any objection to placing this item on the agenda for Tuesday?
No objection.
Item number 4 is a request to approve the memorandum of understanding with Wiregrass Pet Rescue and Adoption Center for Animal Shelter Services, and authorize chairman to negotiate and execute agreement. I'm going to ask Brian and Rachel to come forward, and anybody else you want to bring forward. Brian is the chairman of the board, of which I'm actually a member, and Rachel is the executive director, correct? That's the correct title. And so this, you know, and I will fall on the sword for this one. In my mind, I was thinking we're going to sign this and we're going to be done with Dothan Animal Shelter. Well, it was quite a bit more involved than that, and I appreciate your patience. I know we can be frustrating sometimes to deal with, but as we got to looking into this, there's some legal requirements that once we signed this agreement and transferred everything from Dothan Animal Shelter to Wiregrass Pets, we were not going to be meeting all of our legal obligations. And so that kind of sent me into a little bit of a scramble mode. And I think we've got some solutions, some of which we're going to have to vote on going forward. Dothan Animal Shelter is still going to provide very limited services that y'all don't have any interest in providing. And we're also most likely going to have to contract with a vet to provide, again, a very limited, narrow service that y'all won't be able to help us out with. And quite frankly, one that we'll get into later, we've never had to do since 2006, probably will never have to do it, but by law, we have to be able to have the capability to provide the service. But we're here today to talk about this contract with Wiregrass Pets. I think it's a good contract. Obviously, the rates will go up a little bit, but y'all got to keep the doors and the lights on, keep the doors open and the lights on. So why don't you, I mean, you've all had an opportunity to read the contract. So hopefully if you have any questions, y'all can ask that later, but why don't you just give us an update or a little bit of information about who you are, what you do, and what you're going to be doing for the citizens of the county, the smaller municipalities, and even the city that.
All right. Well, hello, all. I'm Rachel Smith. I'm the executive director of the Wiregrass Pet Rescue and Adoption Center. I know it's a mouthful, so we go by Wiregrass Pets for short, especially when answering the phones. So this whole project started in about 2007 when Brian Applefield saw the state of the Dothan Animal Shelter and knew that we needed to make a change, not only for Dothan, but all of Houston County. So this project has been many years in the making, and we were finally able to open our doors 2 weeks ago. Our grand opening, if you want to write it down, is October 15th, a week from yesterday at 10:30 a.m. We'd love everyone out to support us and come to that grand opening. So what happened and why this change was so needed was it's very common for municipal shelters, for municipalities to run the animal shelter. I have a background in nonprofit animal sheltering. I've been in this field about 15 years. And previous shelters I've worked at are 501c3 nonprofit with a government contract. So what that means is we operate as a 501c3 nonprofit, but we contract with municipalities, cities, towns, counties to basically operate, own, and manage the animal shelter. Most municipality ran shelters across the United States are switching to this model. Municipalities just, one, they really don't want to have to run a shelter. They want it to be much more community-based, which as a nonprofit, our number one priority is to serve the community.
And they're probably typically not very good at it either.
I'm not gonna go on record saying that.
Well, some things
However,
definitely
if
good.
you would like to, you're welcome to.
Put me on record.
I think it's, the main goal is a little bit different, right? So as a nonprofit, our focus and priority is to serve the community and the companion animals in the community. Where municipalities, when it is run by municipalities, obviously there are things that they can and there's things that they can't do. As a nonprofit, our goal is to help, right? If we have a community member in need, we have a pet food pantry, we can help with resources, anything they need, we're there to step up and help them, right? Our goal is to help people keep their pets. We don't want their pets. We have enough stray pets coming in. But at a municipal shelter, it gets a little tricky when it comes to helping with donations, giving people in the community what they need. So that's why a lot of municipal shelters are switching over to this model, which is why we set this up. Our team is there to serve community. That is their main goal as a nonprofit. So what this contract allows us to do is to continue to not collect, but bring in stray animals. So as we're contracted with the county, cities, and towns in Houston County, we do not do animal control. We do not want that function. That is a legal function that state of Alabama says you guys have to do. We don't really want that. Where we come in, and as soon as that stray dog or friendly stray cat comes into our shelter, that's when the nonprofit fully takes over. And then we are in charge of all placement for that animal, meaning having a robust adoption program, foster program, return to home program, which we have had, I believe, almost 20 dogs get returned to their owners just in the last 2 weeks since we've been open. So it's really important for us. We don't want to keep their pets. We want these pets to go to the home that they've lived in. So just being able to, one, be in Dothan, it's right on Highway 52. It's a very retail section of town. It's right down from Lowe's off the circle. So it is much more visible than the Dothan Animal Shelter was out on Jerry Drive next to the sewage treatment plant, right? So it is definitely a more welcoming, open spot. Community members from all over Houston County can get to us fairly quickly. But that's really what kind of set these contracts in motion is, we obviously want to be there and help, but we're not a municipality. We're not a municipality, we're nonprofit owned. So that's where you guys step in, still in charge of stray collection. There's cruelty, hoarding, neglect situations. Again, that's not something that the shelter will do. It gets into little gray areas when we are owning and operating the shelter, but now if we have to cite for cruelty and neglect, it just gets a little fishy. So those are all things that would still remain on municipal, city, town function to do. We would not do that. But as soon as that stray pet steps into our facility, we take over 100% from there.
I think I went to the, not the ribbon cutting, but the grand opening, is that what it was? A couple of weeks ago. It was an outstanding event. And if you've not had the opportunity to go by and check out Wiregrass Pets, I'd highly encourage you to do so. It's a great facility. I think it's something that our community should be very, very proud of. Brian, did you have any comments?
Just a few, if you will. Thank you first for giving us the opportunity to be here today.
Absolutely.
And particularly thank you personally for your contribution, which goes back prior to you being the chairman. And we do appreciate very much your service. Let me share a few facts. One, the name of our nonprofit is the Wiregrass Pet Rescue and Adoption Center. From day one, which is 2007, I've been adamant that this is not a Dothan project. This is a Houston County project. It's for every citizen in the county, and none have priority over whether it's incorporated, unincorporated, or otherwise. Our mission is to serve all the citizens. And I made this clear in every presentation I've made since that time, whether it's to commissioners or civic organizations or clubs or every town in the county that we have collectively been to. Yes, it's about animals and humane treatment of animals, which I think we can all agree is a worthy cause. But more importantly is, she has pointed out, it's really about community service and services this community has never had before. So it's very difficult for you to visualize what we're really talking about. One of the important things is actually children. Every child in this county in school will be invited every year, whether it's from kindergarten to senior high, to come to the shelter, to volunteer to the shelter, to come for fun activities, to come for educational activities, which is a big part of what we're providing here. We can have volunteers as young children can be volunteers as long as they have an adult or a guardian with them. When they're 13, am I correct, or older, they can qualify to come on their own. Obviously, the parents will have to drop them off, but they will go through an education program so they're qualified to do certain things, certain tasks in the facility, and they can come and go and participate fully.
And we just opened up our junior volunteer program. So if anyone has any kids, nieces, nephews, grandkids, 13 to 17, we just opened up orientation. So send them our way.
And we in advance have been reaching out to schools and the enthusiasm among the schools in terms of participating. One of the design features actually is to provide for buses to safely come into our lot and exit the lot, drop the kids off safely and pick them up safely. That was a part of the design. So it's an integral part of what we're going to be providing there. We believe, as I know all of you believe, that children that learn responsibility, that learn civility, that learn compassion, will likely grow up to be adults that have those same qualities. And we all understand that that's much needed today in our society. But it's also about adults. It's about senior citizens, to give them a purpose, a feeling of giving back, and particularly senior citizens will be a big part of the volunteer program that we have at this facility. As Rachel mentioned, a food bank, and this is available to everybody in the county. There are unfortunately many sad cases of people that love their pets, but are choosing between food, medicine, and food and care for their pets. We have a food pantry that will be available at no charge for people that we can help by providing food and other services, many other services, because there are temporary situations where people have medical situations and don't have a place to keep their dog. We'll have fostering programs where they'll come in, we'll say, look, we've got your back. These are just a few of the things that we do. And adoptions, we want adoptions to be the first choice of people in this county. The building is attractive. We want it to be attractive. We want people and kids and all to feel welcome. Let me read you a definition of animal control, because I think it's something that candidly we have difficulty understanding, and it creates some challenges that we have in communicating. This is a definition of a job description. Animal control officer, enforcing local laws and ordinances related to animals, responding to public complaints, and capturing or transporting stray, sick, and dangerous animals. Duties include public education, investigation of animal cruelty, of bite, and threatening animal complaints. Now, I want you to note that it doesn't mention rabies in this definition. That's strange. Would you guess how many rabies cases were reported in the state of Alabama in the year 2024, the latest statistical information?
2 dozen.
0. Rabies was a serious issue in the 50s and early 60s. It is almost non-existent in dogs in this country, north, south, east, west. So there are other functions now that define what an animal control officer's responsibilities might be. We have a beautiful building, granted. But it doesn't mean that our services are expensive. It's a facade. The core of the building is practical, absolutely pragmatic, designed to meet the needs that we have in the most efficient manner possible. State of the art, this is where the design is going. We wanted it to look attractive because we want people to feel welcome when they come in. And I personally believe, having built several things over my lifetime, that you don't have to sacrifice aesthetics for practicality. It doesn't have to be ugly to be good. So anyway, our fees, we benchmarked against other municipalities that are similar to ours. And we're actually less expensive. Our objective is to break even. I've run a number of nonprofits in my time. I believe that they need to be run just like any business is run. The only difference is we're not there to make a profit, but we can't lose money and continue to serve our purpose. So we have the unincorporated communities have all agreed to participate fully. The only service that we can't provide to those towns that have not yet agreed, and maybe they will, but I urge them to consider, is the fact that we will provide every service to anybody else, but we can't take in animals because we can't afford to do it without some reimbursement for our expenses. So I would urge I think there are 11, am I correct, incorporated 12 in the county. I would urge each of them to please participate so that their citizens will have all the services that we want Houston County to have. Thank you so much, guys.
I have a question, Mr. Applefield. How many towns has not signed that for? We know one.
So I'm currently waiting on 8 contracts back from incorporated cities and towns within Houston County.
So you have 4 signed up.
We have 4 signed, and then unincorporated as of Tuesday, hopefully. Yes.
And as I said, if you look at the population, it almost is precisely the intake that the former shelter had.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's very equitable. That's where they come from. It's where the people live.
We have a little summit with the municipalities on Wednesday, so I'll be sure to mention this to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesday.
All right.
And then also we talked with Kim, who's the director of the rabies control for Houston County, and we are still willing to transport those animals from the towns to your shelter on those towns' behalf. So we're still going to provide that service. That will alleviate the town's burden a little bit.
Absolutely.
But I'll make a mention. I'll make a note to talk to towns on Wednesday. So hopefully that'll spur some of them along.
We appreciate you, and as I said, we're here simply to serve Houston County.
Awesome. All right. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Sam.
Any other questions, comments?
No, sir.
Any objection to placing this item on the agenda for
No
Tuesday?
objection.
Okay. Thank y'all. Item number 5 is the request to award bid for hot plant mix to lowest bidder meeting specs. I think this is normal and customary. Any objection to placing this item on the agenda? Any comments, Mr. Acting Engineer? Like to give a speech or anything?
No comment. It was time for us to renew a bid. So this is just to allow us to have a kind of an ad call contractor to do the asphalt resurfacing we need.
All right. Good deal. Good deal. Any objection, any questions, any objection to placing this item on the agenda?
No,
Any other business to be considered by the commission on Tuesday? By the commission?
no, sir.
Nothing. All right. Hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So.
We are adjourned. Thank y'all.
Tuesday.
Because I know I'll be outside. I got to go.
Oh, yeah.
outside. That worked out good.
Might want to mention that with the.
I think all our people